Bonjour. In this video, we shall study the French possessive adjectives. Possessive adjectives are words which show possession. They answer the question whose. Unlike English and like Hindi, French possessive adjectives agree in number and gender with the noun. Knowing the gender of a noun is absolutely imperative because without knowing the gender of a noun, you cannot use the French possessive adjective or any adjective correctly. French possessive adjectives are used in front of nouns to indicate to whom or to what those nouns belong. French possessive adjectives have certain peculiar characteristics. Possessive adjectives are used in place of an article, not with one. So you can use either an article or a possessive adjective, but not both. These are placed directly in front of a noun or an adjective plus a noun. French possessive adjectives must agree with the possessed noun in number and gender. A possessive adjective, when used with a noun, can sometimes be replaced by a possessive pronoun. Here are the differences between French and English possessive adjectives. In English, there are 7 possessive adjectives: my, your, his, her, its, our, and their. The choice of which possessive adjective to use in English depends on the gender of the owner and whether or not there are one or more owners. The possessive adjective does not change to indicate that the thing being owned is plural or singular. In short, in English, the basis is the owner of the object. You can see in the example, my dog and my dogs. In French, on the other hand, there are considerably more possessive adjectives compared to English. Les adjectifs possessifs need to agree in number and gender with the noun they're describing. The choice of the possessive adjective to use does not depend on the gender of the owner or how many owners there are. Rather, it depends on the number and gender of the item being possessed or being described. So basically, it's the opposite of that in English. In French, you pick a possessive adjective based on who is talking, but it has to agree to the item being possessed. So the gender of the owner does not matter, but the gender of the item is what matters. Now let's take a look at the French possessive adjectives. This chart shows all the French possessive adjectives. On the left column is given the English translation. In the next column, the second to the left, the masculine singular. If the object being possessed is masculine singular, then these possessive adjectives are used. After that, we have the feminine singular. If the object possessed is feminine and singular, then these adjectives are used. And finally, we have the plural. If the object possessed is plural, then these plural adjectives are used. Now for the pronunciation. For the masculine singular, mon, ton, son, notre, votre, le. Feminine singular, ma, ta, sa, notre, votre, le, plural, mes, tes, ses, nos, vos, leur. If you look at the English translation, the third person singular his, her, or its. In French, it makes no difference whether the possessor is a male or a female. If the object possessed is masculine, then it will be son, which can be translated as both his, her, or even its. While if the object possessed is feminine, then it will be sa, which can be translated as both his, her, or even its. French and English possessive adjectives are used pretty much in the same way, with just a few key differences. In a list of nouns, the French possessive adjective must be used in front of each one. Par exemple, mon fils, ma fille et mes petits-enfants. My son, daughter and grandchildren. In English, the my has to be used only once. My son. And then you can remove the my because it is understood that you are talking about the same possessor. It's my son, daughter and grandchildren. But in French, because the possessive adjective agrees in number and gender, so for each noun there has to be a possessive adjective. Mon fils, mon because fils is masculine singular, ma fille because fille is feminine singular, and mes petits-enfants because petits-enfants is plural. Similarly, notre maison et nos voitures, our house and cars. Notre maison because maison is singular, and nos voitures because voiture is plural. Nos voitures indicates that we each have a car, while notre maison indicates that we all live in one house. So, you have to note this point. Possessive adjectives agree with and are repeated before each noun. J'aime mon père, ma mère et mes sœurs. I love my father, mother and my sisters. In English, you can remove the my after the first one and simply say I love my father, mother and sisters. But in French, j'aime mon père, ma mère et mes sœurs. The third person singular possessive adjectives son and sa can mean either his or her. Because the possessive adjective agrees with the noun it modifies and rather than with the possessor. Sa mère could mean either his mother or her mother, because sa agrees with the word mother, which is feminine. Similarly, son père can mean either his or her father, because son agrees with the word père, which is masculine. So in French, the possessive adjective shows the number and gender of the object possessed and not the possessor. The forms mon, ton and son. Mon, ton and son, the masculine singular possessive adjectives. These forms are also used instead of ma, ta and sa, which are feminine, if the noun is singular and begins with a vowel or H. H we know is silent in French, so if H is followed by a vowel, then the word will begin with a vowel sound. So in this case, mon, ton and son are used even if the word concerned is feminine. This is used to allow the words to flow smoothly. You can see mon adresse, ton hôtesse, son ami. These words, adresse, hôtesse, ami, are feminine, but because they begin with a vowel or have a vowel sound, we use the forms mo, to and so rather than ma, ta and sa. So you cannot use sa adresse or ma adresse to say my address. You have to say mon adresse. You cannot use sa ami. You have to use son ami. When referring to parts of the body, the possessive adjective is generally replaced with the definite article if the possessor is clear. And sometimes a reflexive verb is used to clarify the possessor. For example, Jean m'en brosse les cheveux. Here, the reflexive pronoun mon. In Je m'en brosse les cheveux, the reflexive pronoun mon is used to indicate that the possessor is the subject. I brush my hair. Je m'en brosse les cheveux. So for the cheveux, an article is used, the definite article, les cheveux, and to indicate the possession, the reflexive pronoun is used according to the subject. In the second example, elle lève la main. Elle lève la main. She raises her hand. Here, there is no reflexive pronoun, but the meaning is clear, and hence la main. The definite article la is used with the object possessed hand, main. Now we can look at some examples of sentences where possessive adjectives are used. Some French expressions of relationships. Une de mes amis. Because ami in this sentence is feminine plural, so here ami will mean a girlfriend or a female friend. Une is the indefinite article, and it is une because ami is feminine. So a girlfriend or one of my girlfriends. Une de mes amis. Un de ses enfants. One of his children. Because enfant is masculine, so un is used, and we're talking about one child, so un. But because enfant in this sentence is plural, so you use ses. Now this sentence, un de ses enfants, can be translated as one of his children or one of her children, because the possessor, the gender of the possessor, is not clear in French. Un de leurs voisins. One of their neighbors. Because voisin is plural and masculine, we use leur, L-E-U-R-S. Because we're talking about one neighbor, so we use un. Un de leurs voisins. Learning how to use possessive adjectives will take some time, but with practice it can come quite easily. The one thing that is absolutely important is to know the gender of the noun. The number of the noun is often quite clear, it's either singular or plural, but the gender has to be known. And if one knows the gender of the noun, then using possessive adjectives becomes much easier. That's all in this video. Merci, au revoir.